YouTube land. I just want to start talking today about some common sense type things. A lot of things in the world tend to bother me a lot. So I think I'm going to start a common sense blog, if you could say. So first thing I really want to talk about is kind of what's on my heart about what's going on with global warming and our planet. That being said, if you look at common sense, our Earth has to have cycles such as our sun. Our sun is on an 11-year cycle. And I'm sure that, like many people I know, the sun has temperament, which means that it's probably going to have hotter years and it's going to have cooler years. This is just something that I've seen posted, something that, I've followed through science through the years. I'm not a scientist. I'm actually a mechanic, which we'll get into videos about mechanics later. But the fact is, so if everything has a cycle, we're going to go through that process. I believe that scientists have found a way to manipulate what's going on and work through global warming to change our future. People would like no more than to keep technology innovation at a high. That being said, different rules, different regulations would be required to force companies to spend the extra money on R&R in order to develop new vehicles, new manufacturing processes. And honestly, this is what keeps our economy growing. This is what keeps our world strong, is innovation. I'm a gentleman with a high entrepreneurial mindset, so, I get it. What are things we can look at to make better? Is fear-mongering a way to do this? I don't think it's appropriate, but it's a sure way to force people to think and to change. Nobody likes change, period. And it's just a fact of the matter. So here, I live in Indiana, and we've had a pretty wet year, just as some other countries in the Midwest. And it's just blows my mind that through that they said we had the hottest year on record. Well, I don't know about you, but when it rains for days on end, one thing I notice is that it's not hot. It's pretty cold, actually. It's mind-boggling that they came out and said that June was one of the hottest years on record. I didn't see it here in Indiana. I lived here most of my life. I was in the military for 7 years, and so I did miss 7 years of Indiana, but while I was gone, there were some pretty good winters, pretty good snow. I haven't seen a real good snow since about 2013 here, as far as a snowy winter. But is that due to global warming? I don't think so. I think it's just a pattern change. So the jet stream changes. It's never in the same location year after year after year. So the weather is going to hit differently. The temperatures are going to act differently. And it's more of a global setup. So I believe within the next few years, the sun's going to hit its, I call it nap time. And it's going to cool. And I think we're actually going to find ourselves cooling off. To a lot of people, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because the sun's still going to be really, really hot. But with just a slight temperature change in the sun, we can actually see a huge difference in our temperatures. So I think that the climate change models that they come out with are just more of a scare tactic, in my opinion. And my opinion is based off common sense, off like things that I learned in high school. And I think that people are just so scared that something's going to change drastically that our government, scientists, and other people like that use that to spar innovation and to kick it in gear and get people to actually accept the change as it's viewed as a need. The cool thing about that, on the backside here, is, well, horrible roads. But the cool thing is, so we've actually come a long way with innovation. We have electric cars, we have self-driving cars. Factory emissions are at a low, and it's getting better. I think the balance of power in our economy and our government does help with this. As you have one party that thrives off regulation. You have another party that is loose on regulation. And I think that these people, through the balance, have helped keep innovation at a steady pace. As one party, deregulates, innovation goes through the roof because people have more opportunity to regulate their own innovation, and they have the opportunity to create without worry of government intervention. And then 4 to 8 years later, we end up with a different party, different mindset, and then these same thoughts get regulated. So there's kind of a push back, in a sense, and what that creates is a bubble. In that bubble is something called time. Everything settles through time, and then we work through the innovations that we currently have, then end up being regulated. And what that does is forces the people who created these new ideas to make them better and more efficient. So the balance of power ends up creating something to where it just becomes fantastic. So is global warming the issue? I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't see it. Common sense tells me, yeah, our world may be warming up, but at the same time, in the history, we've seen this. Honestly, so if you have a propane heater with one of those red, big, round heads on it, and you turn that on, it's going to get red and hot. It's a big red ball. And some people use it as a space heater. So if you take something and you put it a certain distance away and you put constant heat to it, what's going to happen? Over time it's going to warm up. So through God's creation of the sun having cycles, I think that helps regulate our warmth. I do think that that's why ice ages happen. That's why hot periods happen. That's why our Earth constantly changes. So around here in Indiana, we're in the midst of late planting season. It is almost August. There's a lot of really short corn out there. I'm not sure if it's going to make it or not. So it's kind of a bad year economy-wise for the farmers around here. I've heard, reports of, due to global warming, there's a lack of produce. The lack of produce I've seen is in canned goods, which honestly are processed, full of salts, preservatives, juice. What's in the juice? Nobody knows. Water? Okay. And so personally, I'd rather eat the fresh produce anyway. So maybe we need to pull back a little bit as a country and say, hey, Maybe we need to go back to gardening a little bit. Maybe we need to start canning our own food and get back to a better mindset of life instead of focusing on these scientists that are trying to falsely push this global warming into existence so that we are scared to produce for ourselves. And then we allow these people to innovate for us, and we become in a tight spot globally because now we're all scared. This is my first YouTube video ever, so I don't know if there's comments down there at the bottom, but I appreciate your feedback on my video. I apologize. It's just kind of came to my thought process today. I have a long commute to work today, about an hour, so I figured that maybe I could spark a discussion. Maybe we could move to a follow-up video. So leave me some comments, subscribe, and hopefully we can start having some pretty cool discussions. So once I get some comments, I will take a look at it. Then we shall create a follow-up video to this. I'll answer any questions anybody has. I'll try to keep it professional, and we will move forward. So I hope you all have a good day. Today's Friday, which means my next day off is on Tuesday, which is okay. It is okay. So, little drive to work, and then my life's going to get back to normal, and hopefully we can create some better discussions, some better life processes. Leave in the comments also something that you'd probably like me to talk about. I have a lot of experience in sales, marketing, mechanic work. I can do some of those videos. Pretty much anything. I can talk about a lot. So I know a little, but I've experienced a lot in life already. I know I'm not that old. There's no gray hair yet, but I've experienced a lot in life. So I will try to give the best advice I can through common sense. My name's Brad, and that's my video.